What if I told you that over 300 people who climbed Mount Everest never came back? Their bodies are still out there, frozen in time, scattered across the mountain's deadliest slopes. Some have become landmarks that climbers pass by every year. Others, they simply vanished, swallowed by the mountain forever. Mount Everest, the highest point on Earth. At 8,848 meters above sea level, it stands as the ultimate test of human courage, ambition, and endurance. For some, it represents glory. For others, it's a spiritual calling. But for hundreds of climbers, it became their final resting place. Every spring, hundreds of mountaineers from around the world gather at Everest Base Camp, filled with hope and excitement. They train for years, spend thousands of dollars, and push their bodies beyond limits, all for those few moments at the top of the world. But what many don't realize is that Everest is not just a mountain, it's a graveyard in the clouds. Above 8,000 meters lies a region known as the death zone. Here, the air holds only 1/3 of the oxygen found at sea level. Every breath burns, every heartbeat feels heavier. Your body slowly begins to shut down. The brain starts losing focus, hands freeze, and the simplest decisions can turn deadly. A single wrong step, a sudden storm, or even a moment's hesitation can mean the difference between life and death. In the death zone, time itself feels different. Minutes stretch like hours, and the mountain watches in silence. When climbers fall or collapse here, rescuing them becomes nearly impossible. The terrain is too dangerous, the air is too thin for helicopters to fly safely, and when temperatures drop below -40 degrees, even the most experienced Sherpas can't carry a body down without risking their own lives. So most of the fallen are left where they fell. They remain frozen, perfectly preserved by the cold. Some have become landmarks that climbers pass by every year. Others, they simply vanished, swallowed by the mountain forever. Perhaps the most haunting is the story of Green Boots. He lies inside a small cave along the northeast ridge, wearing bright green climbing boots. No one knows his real name for sure. He's been there since the 1990s, a silent reminder that every climber must pass on the way to the summit. Over time, he has become a symbol of the risks that every adventurer accepts when they step onto this mountain. Then, there's Frances Arcentiev, known by climbers as the Sleeping Beauty of Everest. In 1998, she became the first American woman to reach the summit without supplemental oxygen, an incredible feat of human endurance. But on the descent, she collapsed from exhaustion and cold. Her husband tried to save her, but he too perished in the attempt. For years, her body rested just below the summit, her peaceful appearance earning her the heartbreaking nickname Sleeping Beauty. It wasn't until 2007 that her remains were finally moved from the path, but her story still echoes across the mountain. There are countless others, unnamed climbers whose dreams ended somewhere in the blinding snow. Some slipped into deep crevasses that no one could reach. Others disappeared in avalanches and storms that erased every trace of their journey. Each of them had families waiting at home, watching the horizon, hoping for news that never came. Since Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay first reached the summit in 1953, more than 11,000 climbers have attempted to follow in their footsteps. Over 330 have died, and around 300 are still missing or unrecovered. Each one a story of ambition, bravery, and the thin line between triumph and tragedy. Mount Everest doesn't give back what it takes. It keeps its secrets. Sometimes, as the glaciers shift and melt, a lost climber reappears decades later, still wearing their boots, their rope frozen solid, their face untouched by time. These discoveries are both haunting and sacred. For the families, it's a painful reminder. For climbers, it's a warning. The mountain never forgets. And yet, people keep coming. Year after year, the line of climbers grows. They know the risks. They've seen the photos, heard the stories, and walked past the bodies. But still, they climb. Because for many, Everest represents something more than danger. It's a symbol of what humans can endure, how far we're willing to go to chase a dream. There's something strange in that. A mountain so deadly, yet so inspiring. A place where life and death exist side by side, where courage meets consequence. Every climber who stands on its peak touches the sky, but every climber who falls becomes part of the mountain's history. Maybe that's what makes Everest so haunting. It's not just the height, or the storms, or the danger. It's the silence of hundreds who came before, whose voices are now frozen in the wind. Their stories may never be told, their names may never be known, but they will always remain, part of the mountain, part of the legend, part of the price we pay to touch the heavens. So the next time you see a photo of climbers celebrating at the summit, remember this: for every person who reaches the top, there are many who never return. Somewhere out there, beneath layers of ice and snow, 300 souls still rest, watching over those who dare to follow. And the mountain watches too. Silent, cold, eternal.